businesses will be pleased that all this speculation has come to an end. This has had a chilling effect on business confidence. The Institute of Directors has said that business confidence is an all-time low. So at least we're at the end of that season. But remember, we shouldn't be in the situation we're in anyway. The Chancellor a year ago said to the CBI that she wouldn't be coming back for more. She told the British public that she had wiped the slate clean. But now all of the trail beforehand has been that somehow she's blown a big hole in the finances in the last 12 months, so she is going to come back for more. So there's a lot of credibility questions about the Chancellor. Will she focus on appeasing the very unsettled Labour backbenchers, or will she focus on growth? Because they seem to have dropped their whole growth thing now.
I mean, the Chancellor would say that her fiscal inheritance from your party was pretty dreadful, not least the fact that Jeremy Hunt, her predecessor, cut national insurance just before the general election. I mean, that left her with probably about £10 billion to find just to pay for that.
Yeah. Indeed, that's exactly what she said 18 months ago, and she set off a whole summer of speculation last summer about when she was doing that. We found this 22 billion so-called black hole, which the OBR said wasn't there. But yes, it is fair to say there was a difficult inheritance. There were difficult decisions, difficult actions in the last period of Conservative government with the COVID pandemic and with the war in Ukraine, the impact on inflation. So no, legitimately there were some difficulties there. But she said, in her own words, last year that she'd wiped the slate clean. So she can't go back and blame that again. The real reason is that her decisions, attacking businesses with the jobs tax, raising borrowing far more than she said she would at the election, means that she has now found herself with businesses not employing so many people, unemployment is up, the bond market's more cautious about British debt, and now she's got to find answers to the new black hole, which is of her own making. There's no point, the Chancellor, pointing left, pointing right, pointing to the sky, pointing to the past. The responsibility is on her.
Well, in fairness, government borrowing costs have been going up right across the G7. The UK is far from being alone in that, and a lot of the problems that we have in the UK are commonplace elsewhere. An ageing population, higher welfare bills to pay for that, higher pension bills. This isn't just a UK problem.
It's a fair point. So the end of quantitative easing has brought about a return to what older people like me would say were more realistic interest rates. But what is significant in that, if you look at the G7 range of interest rates for their government borrowing, it's only in the last 2 or 3 years, if you go back even 20 years, that the UK borrowing costs have now gone above that range. We've never been there before, and that's under this government. So the cost of debt is high. The Chancellor should be looking at ways to try and reduce that interest rate. And the way to do that is to pare down on public spending, on the points that you just mentioned, on welfare. And the Conservative Party, under Kemi Badenoch, at our conference, outlined an alternative approach to this budget, which was to look at savings. We enumerated 47 billion of savings, and then to look at only using half of that for tax cuts, things like removing stamp duty, and the rest for bringing down the deficit. These are options the Chancellor could pick on today. I doubt that she will.
But what specific parts of public spending would you cut? 47 billion, that sounds a fantastic number that's out there. What specifically would you look to cut to make that up?
So under the 47, there was 23 billion was welfare cuts. Part of that was reducing and restricting welfare spending only to British citizens. There were changes to the way in which we looked at lower level mental health issues, saying that they needed help, but they didn't need benefits. Then beyond that, there was a reduction in the headcount of the civil service, taking that down to 2016 levels. That's 8 billion of savings.
It did rise under your party post-Brexit.
It did, obviously, to deal with the pandemic as well. But there's no a priori reason why the civil service needs to stay at that level. And if you look at the levels of public sector productivity as a whole from 2019, they're down. If you look at it for the private sector, of course, productivity continues to go up. We'd like it to go up more, but one of the ways, if the Chancellor is worried about productivity, is to wrestle with public sector productivity. Again, if you go back all the way to Tony Blair's period of government and you look at public sector productivity over that longer period of time, which the ONS has done, the only period where you had sustained increase in public sector productivity was 2010 to 2019, because we looked at controlling public expenditure and asking the public sector to deliver better services within their budget, the sorts of things that private businesses do every single day of the week.